Imagine this. You need to understand the true pulse of an entire industry, but all you're getting are these curated, maybe even rehearsed opinions from a select few. The same voices over and over. How would you cut through that noise? How do you find the honest, on-the-ground insights that really matter? The challenge many face, and today we're taking a deep dive into a fascinating area where this problem is particularly, well, sharp. How pharmaceutical companies are trying to gather critical insights from oncologists. And this isn't just about data points, it's about informing everything, really. From a clinical trial design right through to getting new, potentially life-saving treatments to patients successfully. So our mission today is to unpack the big challenges in genuinely connecting with the right doctors. We'll expose the limitations of, let's say, the old ways, and try to understand how an innovative solution aims to foster more authentic and, importantly, scalable engagement. You're going to walk away with, I think, a much clearer, more nuanced understanding of a really crucial part of healthcare innovation.
Yeah, and what we're looking at here is material describing a new kind of oncology collaboration network. It makes a pretty bold promise, actually, to fundamentally transform how these vital insights are gathered. What's compelling, I think, is its laser focus on addressing these long-standing industry problems, especially around, the authenticity and the breadth of the feedback they've historically managed to get.
Okay, let's get into it then. Our source material kicks off with a really provocative statement right at the very top. Stop guessing what oncologists think.
Mm.
It's pretty blunt, isn't it? It immediately suggests that pharma isn't just like occasionally guessing, but maybe systematically failing to grasp the real-world pulse, which could mean multi-million-dollar decisions are being made on, well, shaky ground. What's the hidden cost there beyond just, the dollars?
Precisely. The document implies it's a systemic issue. It's not just missing a few data points. It's potentially making these huge R&D and launch decisions inside an echo chamber. The real insight for you listening is that this isn't just some kind of inefficiency. It could be a patient care crisis in the making, where breakthrough treatments might never really reach the people who need them most, all because the communication channel is, well, broken from the start.
And the potential consequences are massive. The material highlights this starkly. When real adoption fails, it's not because of the molecule. It's because frontline oncologists weren't educated, heard, or equipped. Wow. That really puts the stakes into perspective. We're talking about treatments that could change lives, potentially not reaching patients simply because of a breakdown in communication and understanding.
Absolutely. And it's not just one isolated problem point. The material positions this challenge as pervasive. It affects everything from trial accrual to market access. If you step back, it highlights this wider systemic issue. The underlying cause, it states quite directly, is a lack of real-world engagement with oncologists. That's identified as the root cause for so many of these critical failures down the line.
Okay, so if guessing is out, what has been the default method for companies? Our material is pretty critical here, pointing a very clear finger at traditional advisory boards. What's the single most significant flaw, you think, that keeps them from delivering real value? And, is there any scenario where they might still work, or are they just becoming obsolete?
That's a really important question. The source is quite direct in its criticisms. It suggests these boards often just yield rehearsed answers and, scripted feedback. Plus, they tend to rely on the same academic KOLs, that's key opinion leaders, from the same 5 institutions. So essentially, you're drawing from a very limited, often repeated pool, not really a wide range of everyday practitioners. It's kind of like trying to understand global cuisine by only asking chefs from 5 Michelin-starred restaurants. You get excellence, sure, but you miss the entire landscape where most people actually, eat.
Yeah, paid, rehearsed feedback. And the other point that feedback comes too late, those really jumped out at me. From your perspective, what's the most damaging consequence of that kind of delayed, curated input for a pharma company?
Well, I'd say it's twofold. First, the feedback is often biased. It just doesn't genuinely reflect how decisions are actually made by the majority of doctors in diverse settings day to day. And second, it's often focused on brand positioning, like how a company wants its product perceived, rather than truly digging into the nuanced realities of clinical decision-making and patient care on the ground. It's just a fundamental mismatch, isn't it, between the goal getting authentic insights and method chosen. It makes you wonder, if this problem is so obvious, why does the industry keep investing so heavily in these traditional, arguably flawed approaches? Is it just inertia or something else?
Inertia probably plays a role, yeah. But the material takes a sharp turn right here. It unveils what it labels the big truth. This is presented as a crucial insight, the thing that really underpins the need for a radically new approach.
Yeah.
So what is this critical understanding?
The big truth. It's a powerful statement, quite eye-opening actually. Most patients start in community oncology. Your education strategy doesn't. It's a classic business lesson, isn't it? You got to go where your customers are. And in this case, the customer is ultimately the patient, and they're largely starting their journey right there in their local community, not always in those big academic centers. So this reveals a massive disconnect in how pharmaceutical companies are trying to understand and engage with the oncology landscape. They're basically missing the very doctors who treat the vast majority of cancer patients specifically, that 85% of patients who start in the community.
85%. That's a staggering number. So the implication here is profound. If you're still relying on scripted feedback and KOLs from the same 5 institutions, you're missing the 85%. It explains why real adoption depends on the physicians who aren't in the room, the ones who typically don't get invited to those traditional advisory boards. It basically means their whole strategy for engagement and education is misaligned with patient realities, like they're operating in a parallel universe almost.
Indeed. And the material clearly spells out the consequences that stem from this disconnect. It leads to siloed, limited reach, meaning companies simply can't see or reach the right oncologists.
Mhm.
This inevitably results in biased feedback because the voices they do hear don't reflect the real decision-making across the broader community. And ultimately, there's no scalable engagement, no effective way to truly educate and interact with the majority of practitioners in a way that's compliant and genuinely meaningful.
Okay, so if the old way is clearly flawed, and we've got this big truth about where most patients actually get care, what's the proposed solution then? Our material introduces something called the Shared Care Network, or maybe the Shared Care Exchange series.
Right. The opportunity presented here is really to fundamentally change how insights are gathered. The Shared Care Network aims to provide direct access to decision makers in the community. Exactly, the doctors the old way often overlooks. It promises honest conversations with the right oncologists before, during, and after launch. So essentially, it's providing a continuous feedback loop throughout the product's entire life cycle. It's a pretty fundamental shift from that transactional, often too late approach to a continuous, authentic dialogue.
And the core principles are stated right up front, which I find refreshing. Not scripted, not promotional, just real feedback that drives real adoption. That's a very clear departure from the criticisms we were just talking about with traditional methods. It's almost an explicit rebuttal, isn't it?
It is. The core value proposition here is that this solution aims to enable medical affairs teams to connect earlier, educate faster, and support adoption where patients actually start care. And crucially, to do it without the typical bias that's plagued the older methods. It's about getting those authentic insights at the most critical points in the patient journey, not just for, checking a box for compliance, but for making a real impact.
This definitely sounds like a significant shift in strategy. Let's get practical. For someone listening who works in a pharmaceutical role, what would they actually get from engaging with this Shared Care Exchange series?
Yeah.
What are the tangible benefits and deliverables that make it different and, well, valuable?
Okay, so what you get is described as a turnkey, cloud-based roundtable series. It's specifically built for teams who want real access, not rehearsed sound bites. That's the key. The structure is quite specific, too. It includes a national key opinion leader, someone respected, who leads a peer discussion. But critically, it intentionally features community oncologists sharing their genuine treatment decisions. This brings that big truth about where patients are treated directly into the room, so to speak.
And our material details a very unique format for these discussions. A structured 3:120 format, which is quite interesting. So 30 minutes focused on the broader treatment landscape, and 10 minutes on trial and therapeutic awareness, and a good chunk, 20 minutes, for case-based dialogue and looking at referral behavior. That structure sounds like it's really designed to dig into specific real-world scenarios, making sure every minute counts, not just high-level talk.
Exactly. It's designed for depth and relevance, moving beyond just generalities into actual clinical practice. And in terms of tangible outputs, what do you walk away with? Participants get a full transcript and event summary, which is incredibly valuable for internal analysis and sharing. They also get a list of participating oncologists, which helps support future, more targeted engagement. But critically, they gain actionable insights into trial fit barriers and real-world logic. And the material really hammers home the exclusions to ensure authenticity. No promo, no branding, just the information you've been missing. Ooh, it's a very clear promise of, unvarnished truth, cutting straight to what's needed.
That's a clear promise indeed. Unvarnished truth, often hard to come by. And our source material also has this what you want list, detailing what pharma ideally needs. And it really looks like the shared care network is designed to hit every single point. It explicitly mentions the desire for better access to community oncologists, not just academic KOLs. Check. Real feedback to inform trial design, site strategy, and launch planning. Check. Scalable education that builds trust, not bias. Check again. Data on how referral pathways actually work. Yes. And finally, a way to support adoption without crossing into promotion. It seems like it's checking all the boxes for those critical unmet needs we identified earlier.
Yeah, it clearly aims to be a comprehensive answer to those needs, positioned as a single solution for multiple pain points across the organization.
So who inside pharma really stands to gain the most from untangling this long-standing knot? Our material lists several key leadership roles, suggesting it has pretty broad applicability.
Yeah, this offering is definitely targeted at critical leadership functions across the whole pharma enterprise. First, you've got medical affairs leaders, helping them lead smarter engagement strategies before, during, and after launch. Then, pharmaceutical marketing to bring real-world oncology insights to your MSL teams, that's medical science liaisons, and scientific platforms. Market access leaders can connect with the right oncologists faster, no bias, no barriers, and significantly, clinical operations benefits too by being able to accelerate patient recruitment for your trials.
It really does seem to address those cross-functional pain points. It suggests more of a holistic solution rather than something just siloed for one department, tackling a challenge that really permeates the entire life cycle of a drug.
Indeed. And that implies that this lack of real-world engagement with oncologists isn't just one team's problem. It's a challenge that spans multiple departments, creating inefficiencies and missed opportunities all across the board. So this solution aims to provide a unified, compliant way to gather insights that benefits everyone involved in getting treatments to patients, right from discovery all the way through to commercialization.
Okay, to really grasp the innovation here, our source material gives us a direct side-by-side comparison. Legacy advisory boards versus the shared care exchange series. What are the most striking differences when you put them head-to-head like that?
Right. This comparison is crucial for understanding the paradigm shift we're discussing. The old way meant paid, rehearsed feedback, okay? Whereas shared care offers peer-led, unscripted discussion. Big difference. Traditional advisory boards relied on the same academic KOLs, those familiar faces. Shared care brings in a mix of academic and community voices. That's addressing the big truth directly. The old methods were high cost, limited reach. We talked about that. But shared care is presented as cost-efficient, scalable access, much broader reach. And a key point, with the old way, feedback comes too late, often after key decisions are made. Shared care delivers insights delivered in real time, much more agile. And fundamentally, maybe the biggest difference. Advisory boards were often focused on brand positioning. Shared care is explicitly focused on clinical decision-making, prioritizing patient outcomes and actual physician behavior.
That's a really comprehensive list of improvements. It's not just tweaking the old model. It sounds like a complete reimagining of how critical insights are gathered, moving from something potentially performative to something genuinely informative.
Exactly. And this isn't just theory, right? The material includes some compelling testimonials from people who have actually experienced it firsthand, which really highlights the potential impact.
Right, so beyond the features on paper, does this new approach actually deliver in the real world? Our document includes these testimonials you mentioned, suggesting it absolutely does.
Yes, the feedback seems to highlight the impact this approach is having. A community oncologist participant shared a really insightful comment, I thought. They said, "When I have a trusting relationship with the physician, I don't worry about losing my patient, and I want more referring relationships." That speaks volumes about the value of building trust and fostering genuine collaboration, which, let's face it, is often missing in a fragmented healthcare landscape. And another one from a medical affairs leader at a top 20 pharma company observed, "This is the first time I've heard how oncologists are actually thinking about our molecule." Mhm. These quotes really underscore both the unmet need for authentic insights and, apparently, the effectiveness of this new approach in delivering them. They're hearing the unvarnished truth, maybe for the first time in a structured way.
It's powerful hearing direct validation like that. And for anyone listening who's interested, our material briefly mentions a clear three-step process for engagement. It seems pretty straightforward. 1, book a call to discuss your current challenges. 2, co-design what they call access pathways, which could be anything from trial recruitment support to a roundtable series, custom information distribution, or data packages. And then 3, access the network, connecting with the right oncologists, a structured path to getting these crucial insights. So Wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've taken a pretty deep dive into the significant challenges pharma companies face in truly understanding frontline oncology. From the inherent biases in traditional advisory boards to that critical disconnect, the big truth between where most patients get care and where insights are typically gathered, we've seen how innovative approaches like this shared care network are attempting to bridge that gap, using honest, unscripted, and scalable engagement, aiming to, as they say, stop guessing and start listening to the voices that truly matter most.
Indeed. And that drive for real-world engagement, it isn't just a buzzword, is it? It's about ensuring that critical healthcare decisions, everything from trial design to patient education and treatment adoption, are informed by the most authentic and representative voices from the medical community. Ultimately, the goal is better patient care and more effective therapies reaching the people who truly need them, not just those within a limited, traditional network.
Which raises, I think, an important question for you to consider, maybe mull over. In any field where you seek expertise, could be business strategy, tech adoption, even understanding your own customers better. How do you make sure you're getting truly unbiased frontline insights? How do you ensure you're not just hearing rehearsed answers from the usual suspects? How can you apply this principle of stopping guessing and starting listening in your own areas of interest or decision-making to uncover your big truths?